have said okay to recording, and here we go. I'm glad you guys are here. Let's see, today we are going to talk through one of the contract changes that we're going to see, and then just a little bit more info and details about MUDs and PIDs. I keep getting quite a few questions about that. So I wanted to just review that and show you what's going to happen in the new contract about that, why we don't have any real choices about how it is we handle this and what we do. We just have to figure this out. So first off, this is becoming much more of a thing in Texas, much more of an issue that buyers should have full understanding before they ever enter into a contract to buy a home. This is particularly true in new construction or recent construction, because a lot of these wonderful developments that have wonderful amenities also have PIDs and MUDs, or PIDs or MUDs. And so as they're used more frequently as an economic development tool, then we need to be disclosing it to buyers of those properties. So here we go. We're going to talk kind of quickly about the, this is the new contract that's coming. It is not mandatory until February 1st, but, and I'm going to be doing a contract training on the entire contract, but I'm also going to be referring us to what's changed along the way so that we know how to use this new contract and why. So in regard to PIDs and MUDs, they took the notice out of addendum and put it in required notices. So right along with all these other things, annexation, any questionable items, it's no longer a choice. They viewed the addendum, including it in the addendum group, to be more or less of a choice. And it's not a choice. It's a required notice. And you will be writing in there if you have attached a MUD notice or a PID notice. So it's a required notice from the seller to the buyer that the buyer has to sign. So they've moved it to what they consider to be the appropriate paragraph by calling it, a required notice. So they're taking any question of do I have to or not away. And then remember that 57.0, we've had this for a while now, for years now, but this is a great form, particularly for MUD district, and now they've added PIDs. So both of those, yes, I know it exists, and I intend to sign the notice that's attached. So it's a wonderful, it's a little bit like a lead paint addendum and giving them that brochure. It's a little bit, to me, it feels a little bit like that. And this form has been around for quite a while, but now we're really seeing it be used, and they've added PIDs to it. So just a wonderful form for you to put with the notice. All right, let's talk about the difference, because I think sometimes we don't know what we're talking about. I know a lot of times we don't, and we don't have to understand everything about MUDs and PIDs. It doesn't really matter, but a little bit is good. We should know something if we're going to be talking to our buyers and our sellers about this requirement to disclose. Well, we should probably know something about it, right? So a MUD is used, that's a utility district, a municipal utility district, and it's used for water, sewer, drainage, things that have to do with moving water in and out of this development. They have their own elected board. So if you live in a MUD, you're going to vote for a MUD representative, and they have their own board that makes decisions, and it is a taxing entity. What they do is they tax you. And a MUD is overseen by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality and by this elected board that they have. So that elected board oversees the MUD, and then that board is overseen by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Now, a PID can be used for more things than water. right? It can be used for sidewalks and parks and parking facilities. It can even be used for affordable housing. There is a long list of things that a PID can be used for. It is also a taxing entity, but basically it's a little different. It's not an ongoing tax. It's a tax to repay bonds. So a PID gives you kind of a bond sale and then you pay back the bonds. So it feels a little different and the money comes in up front. A PID is actually overseen by the city council, or if there's no city council, by the county. So it is frequently seen as less political. I'm not really sure that I agree with that, but you'll hear that phrase sometimes. And you'll certainly
leave it.
Yes. Okay. You'll certainly hear and see that city councils are making decisions. Sometimes it's very political what they're doing also. So I don't really believe that, but you'll hear it sometimes. Let's see. Okay. So I guess the most important thing to know is that a MUD notice has been required for a while, and a PID notice became required in 2021. So that's why this feels so different. And there are many, many places to get information, many places to get all the info that you need, but mostly just to know that if it feels new, that's because a MUD notice has been required for a while, but a PID notice just only for about the last year. Remember, it starts at the listing. This is something you should be asking your seller at the listing, right? What of these forms might be relevant to this person whose house you're going to be putting on the market? So make sure you know that that is a part of listing a property.
Off the ground. No.
Oh, goodness. Could everybody please mute so that we don't have a lovely recording of off the ground? I get it. Thank you. And then I just wanted to show you kind of how to get information out there. Every city, every county has this information on it. They just do. And they are a great place to go for information about PIDs and MUDs, both. They have lots of information. This is the actual PID notice from Trophy Club. This is what it looks like. This is not current, but just to give you some idea of what it is you're looking for, this is what you're looking for. And then this is Dallas County. My gosh, look at the long list that they have, and you just click on the one that you need info about. Denton County, here you go, same thing. And then please realize that buyers have to sign that. And if they won't sign it, so it's a part of your seller's disclosure notice, basically is where you put it. You need to put it on MLS. You need to make sure the buyer has it before you execute the contract, because if it's not received before contract execution, then the buyer can terminate anytime prior to closing. So let's say you have an ornery buyer. This question is the question, one of the questions that keeps coming up. Well, then what you as the listing agent do is prove that you have sent it to their agent and you have sent it per paragraph 21. So that notices paragraph where it says send all notices this way, well, be sure you've sent it that way prior to executing the contract. And then if they just won't sign it, well, you'll still have proof that they received it. And then the main takeaway is no binding contract if such notice is not acknowledged prior to executing the contract, right? Given the notice after the contract is executed does not eliminate the buyer's right to terminate the contract anytime prior to closing. And then this is just a copy of the PID addendum, and the MUD notice is something you get from the MUD district or from the county. There's no MUD form. That is, the MUD notice is produced by the county or by the MUD district usually. And then the PID, this is the PID addendum. And then this is just more information that PIDs and MUDs are listed as entities on a tax bill. And I want to be sure you know that your so much information out there about MUDs and PIDs. This is the Texas Environmental Quality's online database of utility districts. You can always go there for MUDs. And then I wanted to get to this slide. A seller will typically know. Absolutely. Their tax statement has, well, the school district and the city and the county and the MUD or the PID or the whatever else they're paying property tax for. So this, I don't know anything. Honestly, please trust me on this. That does not work. It just does not work. In any sort of a legal conversation, they expect the seller and you to understand enough about where to get this information. It is plastered everywhere publicly and on a tax bill that they pay every year. So, all right. And then this is the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. They actually have this map that shows all of the MUDs that are out there. You'll see this is on Canyon Falls. There it is. That's the MUD for Canyon Falls. This is the official, when you click on it, this is the official information. There is a phone number if you just have to call somebody for some reason. And then this is HAR, Houston Association of Realtors. They are really well set up to someday be a statewide MLS. I don't know if that will happen, but they're set up for that. And this is a statewide database of water districts and bond information. So you can always, this is public, you can always go to har.com for this information too. And then remember, you have to do it. You have to do it before you execute a contract. So I want to go back and remind you that this is all changing in this contract. And that's why we're taking just a minute to discuss, right? It's moving into the required notices section. So if there ever was a do I add the addendum or not question, now the answer is clearly there's no question. It's a required notice. All right, I am going to stop share. All right, anybody having questions? I want that to be very helpful and just a bit of emphasis on it since the contract chose, since TREC chose and the legislature chose to change the wording and give it more emphasis. Anybody have any questions about that or anything I can do to help you? I also get a ton of questions about this, about where to find information and how do you know? And that's also what I wanted to show you is go to the county, go to the city. Your seller should know. There's a million places with this info. All right, how can I help? Anything else? Any questions? Y'all are very quiet today. Any questions at all? I'm looking forward to doing the contract training on the new contract. There's a couple of really interesting things going to change. So I'm looking forward to being there and looking forward to just putting it into use and seeing how it all works because I think it's going to be great. All right, you guys, I will see you soon and let me know how I can help.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you.